So, Michelle,
Yeah.
you've had quite an eventful week.
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Why even bother talking about it? Let's talk about something
What's that?
else.
Yeah.
So I have been well, I wanted to warm I feel like anytime we go into a heavy topic first, I feel like I don't know, I just am not as happy with the result.
Okay.
So I'm just going to tell you some of the stupid bullshit I'm into this week because every
Okay.
week there's some new stupid bullshit. And we've always been big on shaming me about it. Since the early days of the show when I admitted my addiction to dark web mystery box videos,
Oh man.
which I don't watch anymore because nobody's making that content anymore. And
That's so
fair.
sad.
Well, they're all dead now because they were all killed by
Oh,
the
right.
dark web
Yeah.
ghost mafia people.
Yeah, and the curses and
and
stuff.
and the Dybbuk boxes with the curses
Yeah.
and the genies and such. But I got really into about 3 weeks ago watching gameplay of a video game called Project Zomboid.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Project Zomboid?
No, I haven't.
Project Zomboid is a computer game. It's a game you play on the computer,
Okay.
and it's basically it's not a sim game. It's a simulation game. So it does a lot of like mathematics and stuff like that to simulate the challenge of being in a zombie apocalypse. So like your character gets hungry, your character needs shelter and food. If it eats a raw rat, it gets depressed and can potentially die of food poisoning. Things like that. So like if your character is eating raw oats because you found
Mhm.
oats and you just said eat, they get depressed even though their hunger goes down. But if you get to a house that has power on and you find a pan, you can cook the oats and eat them
Mhm.
out of a bowl, and the more you do that's like a human experience, the happier your character will be.
Okay.
And that's one small element of it. There are other things too, like you learn how to fashion armor, like, so that you can't be bit as easily and you can't be
Mhm.
scratched as easily, and you set difficulties. You set how many zombies spawn, how many how much food there's going to be available when you break into houses. You can also like tear apart furniture and get the boards and like hammer up windows and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And there's all kinds of other skills and things you can unlock. It's a fun game to watch people play because it's all strategy. And it's all about like, oh, my character needs fresh water. I don't know how I'm going to carry enough fresh water. I'm going to go to a janitor's closet and empty the bleach bottles and fill them with water, stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's a lot of that, which makes it super duper fun.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing about when a video game is extremely well loved by a community is the refusal to let the game die. Like the refusal to let people get bored with it, the refusal to give up on playing the game anymore. Because Project Zomboid's been out for over 10 years. It does
Wow.
get regular updates though. Like they'll get it.
Okay.
There's a new update coming soon where they're going to add animals to the game,
Oh.
so you'll be able to have like a farm with animals and stuff like that, which could be pretty cool. Because that's one of the things you can learn how to farm. So you'll love this. For instance, if you're in a house and the power, depending on certain settings, the power may stay on for 20 days, it may stay on for 30 days, it may stay on for 10 days. It
Mhm.
depends on a bunch of factors and where you are in the city that you're playing. But when the TV comes on, if you watch the show called Life and Living, you'll develop skill points towards things like fishing or hunting or building. you
Okay.
can you can literally learn by reading books. You can learn all these things. So you can learn how to be a mechanic because there are like cars strewn everywhere, but they may not have keys or they may need a new tire or whatever. And if your character doesn't know how to do that, you're screwed. Same
Mhm.
goes for if your character doesn't know how to say hotwire a car because they're not a whatchamacallit, they're not a criminal.
Mhm.
So that's one of the skills you can set is like, I want to be a criminal. That way you can hotwire cars. There's all kinds of ones. One of my favorites that's like a total nightmare is hemophiliac, where you're just afraid of blood, but every time you kill a zombie, you get covered in blood. So I watched this one gameplay where this guy was trying to do everything and he had set his character as a hemophiliac and didn't realize how stressed out his character would be basically every second of every day. So
Yeah.
he dedicated like 10 in-game days to obtaining a power generator, learning how to use the power generator, and then using it to power a washing machine so that he could wear clean clothes
Oh, good.
so that he wouldn't go crazy and die of depression.
Mhm.
So, and the game gets harder and harder to play. The entire point is you will die. You will. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because there are people who do what they call series on Project Zomboid, which is
Okay.
where they do like 20 minutes at a time of them doing a challenge or playing a game, a playthrough of it.
Mhm.
But, they break it into 20-minute chunks. So it's like an episode this week and then part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6. And they've done all kinds of crazy ones. Like they did one that was 30 Days of Night where it was like the zombies were super, super slow, but if they touched you at all, you just die. So it's more like, and they refer to them as vampires because they're like role playing that they're different from
Mhm.
normal zombies, stuff like that, to keep the game interesting and keep it challenging. And there are like homemade mods that can make the game different too.
Okay.
You can also play multiplayer with friends playing as other characters. So I'm now watching one of these guys doing a series, and I just watched the sixth one during lunch today.
Mhm.
Literally, he's not even surviving the zombie apocalypse. Like, there are zombies, but his goal is just to build a house from scratch using only the abilities of the characters you can develop.
Okay.
And he's like so far built and carpeted the bottom floor of a brand new house he built himself
Good for
in the
him.
game. But you have to like keep training and studying and unlocking all of these things. And like when your skill is really low in carpentry, for instance,
Mhm.
um, then when you like take apart a couch, there's a chance that it'll just break into a bunch of shit and it won't be usable because you don't know
Mhm.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful because like you might go through a house and disassemble everything and end up with only like 5 wood planks, which would be a bummer. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
point out that
Yeah.
like I just watched today's episode and I realized that he didn't even see a zombie that episode. And there are zombies in the game, he just set it to low.
Mhm.
But it's still a zombie apocalypse and he has to like drive his truck around. And the only advantages he gave himself are like a truck that functions because he needs to be able to haul things from all over. And but he has to go find things and they made the food pretty abundant, which
Okay.
really makes sense. Like you wouldn't want the food to not be abundant when the goal is to build a house. You would want to be able to have enough
Right.
food. So
Right.
there's plenty of food, not a ton of zombies, but everything else is a normal challenge. And I just realized I was like watching this zombie game, but I'm just watching this guy build a house. The only thing that stinks is you can't build an A-frame because the game, generally speaking, the entire point of the construction ability is to rebuild damaged things, like to rebuild a wall that zombies broke through, or fix a window that zombies broke, or whatever.
Sure.
So they don't really expect you to need to build a roof from scratch. You should just be fixing a current roof. So there is no way to build a roof from scratch. So it's got to have a flat top
Oh.
roof. But I just wanted to tell someone because it's so sad that I have gleefully been excited because he uploads almost every day, but not every single day. So every now and then there won't be one, and then there'll be one the next day. I have been
Mhm.
watching gleefully as this guy is just building a house in a game where you're supposed to fight zombies.
Aw.
So I watched one where he maxed out his mechanic ability so that he could see just how much you can take a car apart.
Mhm.
It's pretty interesting.
Cool.
So so my point is I'm sad. I'm a sad person, and these are the things I like.
I
These are
don't
the
know,
ways I spend my time.
you pretty much just told me about my comic, so, like, don't
Well, yes and no. You should for research, you should watch Project Zomboid plays.
maybe.
Some of them are really, really fun. And I love when they put, like, challenges to themselves, like, one of them was, like, survive in only one house. Man, that's hard because like, once you run out of resources and stuff, you can't. The other one I really loved was the floor is lava,
Mhm.
where outside is just lava. So, like, you can't step on the ground or you lose. So
Wow.
but they figured out that the game mechanics are a little broken. So if you break a wall down and then just build a floor, it doesn't have to be on anything. Like you could just so they literally build bridges from house to house to house, which is great until the zombies get on the bridges. Then that's a very bad time.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
do inevitably get on the bridges. So, yeah.
Yay.
Yay. So now let's talk about something that actually matters but is equally potentially sad, I suppose. So
I didn't think that was sad.
that's the saddest part of the whole thing is Michelle's like, "I think that was all fine." It's like, "Wow,
Yeah.
she's not doing so good, kids." No, so we talked a bunch about this last week, but last week
Mhm.
you absolutely weren't allowed to just, like, say what was going on.
Mhm. Yeah.
But now you wanna tell everybody what's been going on with your work life?
I guess, if you want me to.
I mean, I do want you to.
Oh. Yeah, no, I just my job, my main job that I make the money at is
Ah, yes, the
laying
money.
off. Yeah, the money is laying off. Why did you move me?
It had to be done.
Why?
It had to be done.
The
It has nothing to do with you.
Okay.
Keep
Uh,
talking.
um, um, um,
What's happened in your work life, Michelle?
so my main job that I make all the money at,
All the money,
yeah,
every money.
my entire area, region, everything is just, dissolving completely, finally.
Figuratively. It's not literally like people aren't melting in the
Well, I
streets,
mean
right?
does dissolve have to be physically melting?
I feel like yes.
I don't
I mean, if it's
know.
literal, it's not literal, it's figuratively. They're figuratively dissolving.
But okay, fine. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, so that's going away, but they gave us, like, really, really advanced notice.
Yeah,
So now
3
I have
months,
to
right?
yeah, so now I
Yeah.
have to work at a place that I don't really work at anymore for 3 months and somehow still do an okay job so that I don't get fired.
But I feel like it would take a bit to get fired at this point.
I would think so because, I might have, like, like, they don't want people suing them and being like, "Hey, you did that on purpose."
Yeah, well, because it would be an
Um,
obvious attempt to prevent giving them benefits that they were promised.
yeah, but, but yeah, so that's going on, and then yesterday I found out that I just got fired from my other job too,
You didn't
so
get well, you did get fired. No, well, you didn't get fired, you got laid off again. These are both layoffs for the record. We're using fired for
fired.
comedic purposes, but you were laid off of these 2 places.
Okay.
Well, because it wasn't you weren't let go because of your performance. You were let go because of the company's performance.
Maybe no, the company well, I mean, if you believe well, okay, so for the one that I just got fired yesterday, I was laid off because of the company's performance, because
Yes,
they're doing really, really bad. The other
correct.
one, I was not laid off because of the company's performance in a bad way. I was laid off because the company has decided that they should go public, and they want to change the way that they're doing things.
Oh, well, they weren't public before, that
They're not
surprises me.
they're not public now.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. I mean, it makes sense they'd wanna get their financial ducks in a row.
Yeah.
But that's still not about your performance, that's about the company's performance that they felt the need to do
Fine,
that.
fine. I mean, also,
gosh.
it had to do with our partner as well making a decision. It was
Yeah.
I believe everybody's been asking me, like, "Who was it? Who did this to us?" And I was like, "I don't know, probably everyone." So,
It sounds like Putin to me,
yeah,
but yeah.
yeah.
So, Shonem commented over on YouTube and said, "I have never been fired." Well,
Good for you.
must be nice.
Yeah.
I've only been fired once, and it was at the last job I had, which was almost wow, June 4th, it's gonna be 8 years that I got fired from that job.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's a long time to not have a straight job, but, but I might talk about that more later because this is more prying, but if I don't bring up these chats, Michelle's just gonna read them anyway because she's worried that they're about her, so
I've
she'll
already read
I
them.
know you have, because you can't help yourself. CT Van Hoos, how you doing, CT? He said, "Michelle cracks me up. Sorry to hear about this change." Michelle cracks me up too. That's why I force her to live stream with me and podcast with me against her better judgment.
I've literally not done anything funny, but thank you.
Uh, Shonem said, "A friend of mine seems to get fired at least 3 times a year or more, but he's had his current job for at least 10 months, so looks like he's set now." Well, good for him. It sounds like he
Mhm.
needed the right management and probably the right job to stick around. I had never held a job for more than 3 years, other than the job I have now, which is, working for me. But yeah, because I worked at Pop Cinema for just under 3 years, and I worked at DATV for just about 3 years, and everywhere else it was like a year or less, or substantially less. So, yeah. Now, you said you've been fired once before, but was it really fired or were you laid off?
No, I was really fired. Well, like, was fired in, like, the shitty way where, like, no
Oh,
one
as
ever
opposed to the
told me.
great way when you're fired?
Well, like, yes, like, you'd hope if you're fired, somebody would say, "Hey, we don't want you here anymore, so we're gonna stop putting you on the schedule, and please don't come here and keep asking about the schedule."
Where was this?
Um, Sam Goody.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah,
Sam was not a goody to you.
no, they just stopped putting me on the schedule and pretended like they would put me back on the schedule, and I, like, called every week, and they were like, "No, no hours." And
Nope,
I was like,
no,
"I'm 18, and I
no.
don't know what's going on."
For the record, I feel like that's how I spoke every day that I was 18. Like, no matter what the conversation was like, "I'm 18 and I don't know what's going on." Oh, man. David Denoyer accidentally pasted something from his work Slack into our chat room.
I mean, that's good stuff.
And then yeah, David Denoyer said, "Ignore that. The work stuff that bled into the chat." Well, Michelle, I just want you to know that a friend of mine who owns a business outside of Philly is looking for part-time workers in a warehouse, a movie warehouse. So,
Wow.
yeah, if you ever if he's still looking when you're a free agent, I can always give you his contact info.
We're outside of Philly.
I don't know exactly, but he said his call for workers was, "Do you live in Philly or South Jersey?" So I'm
Mm,
guessing it's near Philly, relatively.
or South
So,
Jersey?
well, I think it is in Jersey, but I think it's like really close to the Pennsylvania
Oh.
border.
Yeah,
So,
that's like for me now, it's like forever to get over there.
well, I'm sorry. I was trying to find you a lead in a state I don't even
No,
live in. Jeez.
I
Do
appreciate it.
you? Do you?
I don't know.
So so you get laid off from your main gig.
Mhm.
And for those who are not aware, Michelle has become a home inspector. And she had joined up with a company that I guess they were expanding into the area you live. But that's in quotes because they never gave you any work. I mean, they did
Yeah,
invest a little bit of money in you, but that was it.
yeah, yeah.
So they informed you yesterday, although you were like ready to give them an ultimatum.
I already had given him
Well,
basically an ultimatum
no,
that
you're
was
right.
like, "Hey, like, you're not what's going on?" 'Cause,
Now,
like, I sorry.
oh, you're fine. Please.
Oh, I had been like, trying to be really nice about this, about the fact that, like, I kind of met all of the requirements because there was a couple of certifications I still had to get originally, but then, like, I met everything and I did a couple of things, and then there was just nothing, so I had a couple of times like, the only time that things got done was when I would say, like, "Hey, do you need anything from me? What's going on?" And then something would happen, and last time I was like, "Hey, what's up? Like, anything I can do to make this move forward?" He was basically just like, "Sorry, we ain't gotten any jobs right now. Like, we're doing really bad." And I was just
Yeah.
like, "Great! That's not helpful at all."
Awesome.
So,
Hooray.
like, nothing for, like, another month, so I was finally like, "Hey, do you still wanna do this with me?" And then he was like, "Yes." And then he was like, "No."
Yeah.
I changed my mind.
I didn't go, "No, I changed my mind." He informed you that the business was not going to be able to support new people.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and it's a bummer, but it was you were literally ultimatum was the wrong word because yeah, you had already given him an ultimatum. You were getting ready to give him your his marching orders, just to take
Mhm.
a hike, get
Yeah.
out of here. I'm doing this on my own. So now, Michelle, you will be going back to your plan from a while ago to start your own home inspection, your own independent home inspection business.
Yeah, I'm now 6 months behind where I could have been, but that's fine.
I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. At least you have 3 months of work to prepare.
I guess.
There's no I guess, you have 3 months of work to prepare.
Unless they fire me because I start doing a really bad job.
But that has literally been your argument since before they were firing you.
Yeah, I know.
My point is maybe you overestimate the likelihood of you being fired.
I don't know. I feel like I got fired.
Well, I get that you emotionally feel like you got fired, but you got laid off.
No.
I chat people, help me out. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I believe that being fired would mean that you're being let go due to your own work performance. As to where being laid off is when you're being let go due to something related to the business and its performance and their need of your services, not the quality of your services.
And I believe that the end result is the same, and I don't care. So,
The end result isn't always the same. Usually, when you're fired, you don't have a good reference.
oh, but I don't need a good reference.
Oh, well, that must be nice. My former boss, when he fired my ass, he he shook my hand and said it wasn't personal, and then blocked me on Facebook later that afternoon. Ah, what a chotch. Let's call him on the phone right now.
Okay.
I know, right? We're that's where we're headed. We're gonna degenerate into me just like calling my old boss on the phone. Shonam sent in a chat. He said it's hard to tell since some people like to make a firing feel as painless as possible, so it might have been a soft letdown approach. That could be. I mean, in Michelle's case, I don't think considering the everybody's getting laid off at the main job, but then on the other one, uh, you literally had never worked for the guy. So he
Yeah,
couldn't judge your quality of work. He had you just
yeah.
in standby mode,
Mhm.
which I hated. I mean, we talked about that at length in January. We were
Yeah.
talking about that a bunch and I was, you know me though, I'm gonna pretty much always be like, screw them, go do what you want. That's always
Mhm.
my I mean, granted, that's because that's the best advice I ever got was screw them, do what you want. Of course, my when I got fired, I thought I had a plan, and my plan was to go part-time at that job, although I was already part-time because I had no benefits. I just had to work 34 hours a week and and had no flexibility in my schedule, but I was not full-time. I was not full-time. And you know what the funniest thing is people always go like, that's just like those people. It's like, yeah, those people that run a nonprofit organization because the place I worked at was a nonprofit organization. But no, when they let me go, what had happened was I had not demanded, I had requested that I wanted a shorter work week. And I offered to let them take as long as they needed to find someone to pick up my hours. I offered to take a month or two of still working what I'd already agreed to. until they
Mhm.
figured it out. My boss pulled that thing where he literally said, "Oh, okay, we'll talk about it," and then he scheduled the time to talk to me about it, and then left before our meeting was scheduled. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he left. Like, I pulled in. My shift started at I want to say 1 o'clock, or maybe it was 3 o'clock. Doesn't matter. I can't remember now. I think it was 3 o'clock. I pulled in, and literally he was pulling out of the parking lot and leaving, and our meeting was like scheduled for like 4, and he never came back. So I ended up having to go to him and basically say, like, dude, if you don't give me an answer on this, I'm gonna quit because like this isn't fair. So
Mhm.
then he was
Yeah.
like, all right, we'll do it. And then I was like, okay. So then he needed a month. So I worked a month of those regular hours. And then the first week that I got my new schedule, he fired me the second day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can't be mad at the guy. It's got to be frustrating having no genitals. Like, it's gotta be very frustrating just day in, day out. Like, I mean, like, using the bathroom. I mean, I'm not even going into, like, interpersonal sexual things. I'm just talking about, like, day in, day out, how the underwear fits. It's just really why are you shaking your head? You think it's fine to have no genitals?
I don't think this is a nice thing to say about someone.
What do you mean?
Jeez, I don't know.
Wait, no, no, I'm not saying, "Oh, he has no genitals." I'm saying he's like a Ken doll down there, and it makes him really angry at everybody.
Okay, first of all, if we weren't getting into this whole "that's not a nice thing to say," you know that if he didn't have any genitals, underwear would probably fit really nicely and everything would be comfortable.
Well, if he wears panties, which he probably does, you're right. Okay, let Michelle make the correction. My old boss has no genitals and wears women's underwear. Thank you, Michelle. I
There's nothing
apologize for
wrong
getting a
with
little.
wearing women's underwear.
If it's a comfort thing, I get it, or even a fashion thing, I get it. I'm so glad you could set the record straight, Michelle. Thank you.
You're
Thank you very
welcome.
much. All I'm saying is, it's got to be hard, walking through life with just no genitals whatsoever. So, I mean, I'm sure he would be happy to talk about it if he hadn't blocked me on Facebook. Which was also probably just a knee jerk reaction to the rage of the genitalless man. But what's he gonna do, Michelle? What's he gonna do? Fire me again? He's gonna call me and ask me if I want to come back to work for him so he can fire me again?
I
I
mean,
don't care.
he could do that.
If he had been an adult about firing me, we would be friendly now because it turned out so well for me. I would be thankful. But instead he fired me like a total bitch. So
So
I don't have nice things to say.
so you wanted him to, when he said, "Let's talk about it," to actually stay and talk to you about it and then say like, "Listen, I need somebody to work more than that. I can't do the 2 people thing. How about can you stay at your normal hours? Because if not, like, I don't think we can work this out." Would have been better?
That would have been something somebody would do if they were a person who had respect in their heart for other
Mhm.
humans. But he didn't just do I mean, or if he had just, came to me and been like, "Look, I don't really like having you here anymore. Like, I don't feel like you fit. I think it's time for us to part ways," which is partially what he said. You know, if he had said that stuff and not been a little baby, well, because I'll never forget, I was angry, but I wasn't mad at him until I got home and saw he had blocked me on social media.
Yeah.
Because then I was like, "Oh, so this is definitely personal," and that's why he went out of his way to say it's not personal, is because he knew it was personal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, people suck. Like, cause it would've been it actually would've been easier and more beneficial to just come to you and be like, "Listen, I can't reduce your hours
Mhm.
because this and this and this, like, I'm really sorry, like, I hope you stay, but I would understand if you left."
Well, I also will say, now that I have time to look back, I think that he fired me, it was retaliatory, because I gave him a negative, um, assessment to the board of directors.
But, uh, it wasn't, that thing. Anonymous?
It doesn't matter if it's anonymous. He knew it was me because he and I had clashed.
I don't know. I think you're supposed to do it in a way if you're his boss that, like,
Yeah. Well, he also was able to fire me with impunity because I was still a part-time employee, even though I was working 34 hours a week. Because
which is
at a
not
company
okay.
like that, after being there for 3 years, I should have been put in front of the board to be fired, but
Yeah.
I wasn't.
I
So, sorry.
how could he get away how like, were you consistently working 34 hours a week?
I think now you got to pardon me for a minute because it has been almost a decade. It
Okay.
was whatever the most hours were without ever being considered full time are
It's
here.
29.
I feel like it was more than 29.
I mean, it could have been long enough ago that it was different, but
Yeah.
normally the way things are right now is that anything 30 and over is full-time employment.
Yeah, I was never considered full time. I was never given the full timers benefits because full timers had benefits. Paul Lee just chimed in. Oh, and Eric said it was 30 hours. Paul Lee said
Yeah.
32 hours is in Ohio. Oh, hey, Eric Whiting's in here. I'm not Eric, did you was it like the bat call? Did you hear I was insulting a certain boss and you immediately had to tag in? Yeah, it was 30. I thought it was something around like 30 hours somewhere in that
Mhm.
neighborhood. So it was 30 hours. Um Eric's like, I'm at my desk listening. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, um anyway, my point was he must have just heard me saying genitalis over and over. He said my spider senses. Eric Whiting said my spider senses went off. Well, I mean, the genitalist man will never see this because he's blocked me on social media. I've also referred to him as genitalist for about 6 years now. Every time I speak publicly about him, I never say his name though. No, I never do. I had to think about that, but I don't. I don't say his name. But it was that was the I do think it was retaliatory because he was the boss that took me aside once to tell me my dreams were foolish and that I should have a backup plan for, what I want to do with my life. And I should be realistic. And I remember sitting there thinking like, "Oh, it's so weird. I thought he was my boss, not my goddamn father."
Mhm.
Sorry. I was mistreated by that dude. Eric, I don't want to drag you into this bunch, but Eric, I will never forget. I sincerely thought I was imagining it. That's how oversensitive I'm used to being in life. I really thought I was imagining that the boss was cornering me out and picking on me. And then one day Eric just went like, "Man, he really has it out for you." And I was like, "Oh my god, he really does." I should also mention that when I went to my office to pack all my stuff and leave, stop reading the chat. I'm telling you a story.
Okay.
I can see you. No, but
No.
but when I was packing up my stuff to leave my office, right?
Mhm.
I went into my supervisor's office to tell him goodbye.
Mhm.
And literally he was like on his computer working. So I just said like, "Well, I'll see you later, I guess." And he literally lifted up his head and literally went, "Early dinner?" Cuz we eat dinner on the clock cuz we work 3 to 9. So he thought I was just like going to dinner at like 4:15 instead of after 5.
Mhm.
He had no idea I was being fired that day. And he was
Wow.
my direct supervisor.
Wow.
So it's pretty it's yeah. So anyway, Andrew Shearer made a comment. I'll have to read some of it off of the screen, but he said, "My one experience being fired was devastating. I'd been with the company for 3 years and took a transfer to another city only to be canned after 4 shifts. Whew. I was 20 and it was my first time living away from home. Did it lead to better things? Eventually. Yes.
Yes.
But at the time I was terrified and felt helpless, and I remember every second of it." That's
That's really
fair.
terrible,
That's how
though.
I felt too. I mean, you and Andrew were two of the first people I called when I got fired,
Mhm.
and I was scared shitless. I really thought like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna live? I'm, too weird and stupid. Um, Oh, Shonam just said on YouTube said it'd be hard for you to say his name, Henrik, since you have to pronounce it extremely high pitched due to the fact that he was also born without balls. Thank you, Shonam. I appreciate the solidarity, my friends. I did not mean to vent about this a bunch, but I don't think about it very much, and it still makes I think I have every right to be mad, but in hindsight, considering the like I had to confront him once because he made a comment about my weight when I worked there. Um because I complained that I did a job. So at that job, we used to do banquets and stuff. We would film them, right?
Mhm.
And the organization that hired us literally asked me what meal I wanted because they have to prep the catering.
Mhm.
So I told them, and then they never served me a meal. So I worked for 6 hours without a meal, and I didn't pack a meal because I was told I was being provided a meal, but nobody fed me. And I think that I have a right to be a little mad that I have to work 6 hours without eating, with no opportunity to go anywhere and get food either.
Yeah.
Um, and I did what I think you're supposed to do. I didn't make a scene. I didn't walk up to the client and be rude. I told my boss, the
Mhm.
person who made the job, hey, this happened to me. And his response was, well, you're like always trying to be into fitness, right? You've always been trying to lose weight. It helps. And I was just like, the fuck did you just say to me?
That's so shitty.
Yeah, it is. It is totally shitty. And especially shitty because it's like, hey, I'm your employee. I'm the person that you're supposed to represent the best interests of in situations like this. And I didn't walk in there saying like those sons of bitch. Blah, blah, blah. I came in and was like, hey, I worked that event and they promised me food and then never fed me. That's what I had to say. And his response
Mhm.
was defensive. And then he started saying, oh, remember, you're there to work, not to eat. It's like, I'm working 6 hours. How about I talk to OSHA about that? How about that? You son of a bitch. Like, God. Oh, sorry. I hadn't thought about that one in a while, but that's why I think he was retaliatory. I think I may have been the only person in that office that would say something negative about him. And I said it to the board because I was told I didn't file a special thing. It was my yearly review of my boss.
Yeah.
And I said that he made inappropriate comments and that he did not seem to care about my well-being. So,
That sucks.
anyway, and then about 3 months later, I got contacted by one of the members of the board telling me that they were surprised that I was even able to be fired. Um, and then asking me if I wanted to file a complaint, and I was like, "Well, if I do, what happens?" He's like, "You might get your job back," and I was like, "Pass."
I think you should have filed a complaint anyway, and if they offered you your job, you could have just not taken it.
At that point, I think I was actually too busy trying to make a living making
Mhm.
movies, which I mean, because don't get me wrong, the first 3, 4, 5 months were really scary. So, and I didn't mean to get so angry and so negative. I apologize. Um, but man, I was really treated poorly. I haven't thought about it in a while. Um, so you look so mortified.
It's not nice.
Which thing?
The whole
It's
thing.
all not nice. I know I'm not nice. I have no apologies. There are very few people in this world who've treated me as inappropriately as that guy.
Yeah.
If I saw him in public, I would point and laugh. I've always believed that if you want to make somebody realize that they're a fool, you have to
Mhm.
laugh at them. Like there's no better way. Cause then if they get mad, they're the asshole because it's like, why'd you punch this guy? The cops are like, why'd you punch this guy? It's like, cause he was laughing at me. It's like,
Yeah.
God, everybody's a critic, but no, it's like when people, like when I'm driving and somebody like cuts me off driving really fast and kind of recklessly on a little road, and then we end up at a stoplight and we're both like right next to each other again, I'll just start laughing, like look right at them and laugh.
I mean,
Not that that happens even every week. That
it
happens
just
like
happened
maybe
that
twice a
one
year.
time.
It happened more than once.
I only know about the one time.
It's happened more than once, but less than 5 times. I guarantee you
Okay.
that's true. You gotta remember, I lived in Jersey. That's where that would happen plenty.
I mean, I just think it's you're supposed to flip people off.
Oh, that's no fun. Everybody's expecting that. What? Am I crazy? Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
No, it all makes sense, it's all fine.
Oh god, that's even worse. It all makes sense. It's all fine. Oh no. So so Michelle, I apologize. I did not mean to hijack that. I just got really upset. That really pissed me off to remember all that bullshit.
Yeah,
So your plan is you're going to strike it out on your own, right?
I guess. Yeah,
You guess?
yeah,
I don't think you guess. I think you know.
okay,
You going to strike it out on your own?
sure.
So what's your do you refresh my it's been a hot minute. So do you still have your web address and stuff?
I stopped paying, but I should be able to get it right back. Cause I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't stop paying, like, it like, I stopped paying for it to be hosted by
Yeah.
whatever the hell
But you
that
still own the
is.
domain name.
Uh-huh,
Yeah. So
probably.
what is your home inspection company called again?
It's called Our Best Home Inspections.
Yes. Our best. I love that.
'Cause
So
it's
and
not
you
good. It's just
or
my
I said
best.
that I said that it should be a DBA of your of I'm so sorry LLC. That would be the parent company of all of your endeavors is I'm so
Yeah.
sorry LLC. So I'm just gonna say I think it's a great idea for you to be your own boss, like 1,000%. And I think it's overdue.
I mean, I hope it works out because towards the end of my relationship with the guy who just let me go, um, with home inspections, I was starting to get panicked that he was going to actually give me a job because I was like, "I don't wanna do this." And then I was like, "I don't want someone to tell me when I have to work." And
Yep.
it's home inspections, so for the most part, it's not like I'm gonna be doing them at, from, 9 to 12 at night because then you can't see anything. So there's normal hours basically,
I
but,
assume they're mostly like lunchtime or after work.
um, no, actually, they're mostly morning and
Oh, okay.
then, noon, just 'cause they can run, 3 or 4 hours if the
Oh,
houses are too
yeah.
big. So, you wanna if you're doing 2 a day, you wanna have 1 in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon,
Oh,
basically.
okay, that makes sense. I
Um
do know minimal things about a home inspection, so
Mhm.
bear with me.
No, it's okay. But yeah, I assume in the summer, if somebody wanted to have one at 5, I guess. I don't wanna do one at 5, but if they needed it, I
Yeah,
guess. But, in the winter, you have limited time because once it gets dark, it's really hard to do things
sure.
outside, at
Yeah.
least. Um, so but yeah, I'm really, really, really tired of and I am really comfortable working a set schedule, but I just don't want people to make the schedule for me, you
You wanna
know?
make the set schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a I see, I think that makes perfect sense. That's exactly how I like to be and how I like to live.
Mhm.
Although I never have a set schedule for more than 2 weeks straight
Yeah.
because I've never worked on a movie that lasted more than 2 weeks. So, once I get home, it's a little bit more loosey goosey. But I think that's the way most people are in between gigs that involve other people. You know what I mean? Like when you're just at home doing your own clerical work, you just kind of do it whenever, do
Mhm.
half of it on the couch if you want, half of it on your phone. Self-employment is it's a hell of a thing. But Michelle, this means that soon I will be able to dedicate to you the title of fun employed.
No, because I still have a job. No.
I said soon. I
No.
didn't say today. I
No,
said
I
soon.
mean no, I mean, hopefully, by the time I lose this job, that I'll have some inspections, and then I won't be unemployed.
Fun employed.
No, I don't like that term.
Why don't you like fun
It
employed?
makes me so upset, and I don't know why.
I'm the one who made it up.
No, I've heard other people say it.
Okay, well,
So many other people.
I only remember making it up when I got fired from my job.
I mean, if you
I'm
did it,
sure
it spread.
I'm sure that I mean, there's no way that I'm the first person to think "un" is the second half of "fun."
Mhm.
So I'm sure that I'm not the only but I in my circle of people, I'm the only person I know who says "fun employed."
Okay. I know, like, tons of people who say it, unfortunately.
And what are they referring to? Just being without work?
Yeah, but, like, it's always, like, right after they lose their job.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because that's when you're fun employed. Because it hasn't started to hurt yet.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not no, no, I gotta have money coming in before I'm out of this job.
I mean, that would be ideal 100%. And you have plenty of time to start making that happen. So what's your first step? Like, what are you gonna do when we are done streaming today?
I can't do anything else today. I've done too many things right
What have you
now.
done today?
Just, like, really stressed out about things. I like, there's only so much I can do right now because of all of the things that have just happened.
Sure.
But the first thing that I need to do when I start doing things, like maybe tomorrow or
Mm.
when I'm at work on Friday, um, is I have to get, errors and emissions insurance again.
Ah, the old ENO, which is if there was ever something I would not have assumed that we would both need,
Yeah,
it would be ENO insurance.
yeah.
The moment you said you needed an ENO policy, I was like, "What?" For those not in the know, when you make a feature film and you want it broadcast on television or cable, you need an ENO policy for that movie. Now, the policy is just for that movie, though, which is nice because it's not an ongoing thing. You pay it generally one time,
Mhm,
um, and it covers it. Now, of course, the size of the movie, the scope of the movie, the amount of people involved, et cetera, has all the effect on how much that ENO policy is going to cost. It could only cost $1,800 or $1,900 sometimes, but sometimes it costs like 5 grand or 20
oh
grand.
god.
It really
Wow.
depends. It depends wholly. But like, if I most of the movies I make, if I show it to the ENO people, they're
Mhm,
gonna be like, "Ah, that's like a 2 grander," and I'll be like, "All right."
okay.
Now, in the immortal words of Freddle and Ray, if you ever violate something to where you need your ENO will pretty much immediately drop you because they'll be like, "You're too high risk because you didn't do this right," and then you have to be like, "Oh, cool. So I paid for an ENO policy that didn't actually cover me when it was violated." And as again, in the immortal words of Freddle and Ray, one of the most prolific filmmakers of our generation, of not even our generation, of a generation, um, why did I get in the film business? I should have gotten the ENO business. That was that's what Fred always tells me whenever we're talking about ENO. David Denoyer commented and said, "Sorry, our phones are crazy today. I just wanted to pop in and say, Michelle, you got this. It's perfectly understandable to be stressed the fuck out, but 3 months is plenty of time to get a plan and put it into action. Plus, worst comes to worst, I think Gigs could find a job and help for a bit."
I hope so, and thank you.
So if Gigs got a job just, for a little while to help things out, would it be a part of the gigs economy?
I mean, like, probably.
Uh, anyway, your Uber's here. It's Gigs. It's just it's just Gigs driving the Uber.
Gigs can't drive.
Yet
Gigs
you'd be
is
you'd be amazed what Gigs would pull together if it meant helping you.
uh, I don't think a lot, but that's
You think Gigs would let you have some of her food from her dish?
Yes, but she probably make that sound that she makes when she doesn't understand what's going on.
What's that sound?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. You know exactly what that sound is. What is it?
I don't know.
Are you not now all of a sudden you're afraid to make a impression of your cat sound?
Mhm.
Oh, come on. It's just
She just
between
like
us.
No, it's not.
It's just you and me and whoever is vaguely listening.
There's at least 1 or 2 other people listening right now.
That's nonsense. Okay, you build up your courage while I take this chat. My
Okay.
buddy Ronald Lynch just commented, I fired myself from my IT job at Honda. I was overworked and burnt out. They just kept wanting to take more and more. I remember that. I got pushed to a point where my work life balance was trash. I was told by a boss to cancel plans I'd made to do things with my family to go work another 12-hour day. I finally snapped and told that boss off. It was a tough time to be jobless, but I have zero regrets at telling Mo to fuck off and eat a bag of dicks. That's in quotes. Um, no, Ron, I'm glad you seem to be in a way better place these days than you were when you were stuck at Honda. So good on you, man. At first
Yeah.
it's and that's the tricky thing with jobs, and one of the reasons I'm glad I don't have one is is they it always starts as a blessing to be given more responsibility and more work because usually if you're lucky you're getting more money too.
Mhm.
But that's almost more dangerous. The places where they're just like, here's more stuff to do, but anyway, nothing else is changing. You're like kind of keeping your eye on that. You're like, oh, okay, but like
Mhm.
I'm going to be watching for if I'm being taken advantage of. But when they're like,
Mhm.
here's more work and more money, you're like, okay, you're just supposed to accept it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there is a threshold, as Ron pointed out. There's a threshold of humanity. There's a threshold of burnout. I mean, I remember when you used to work and show apartments. Like you were
Mhm.
really working all the time,
Yeah.
just all the time. Have you thought about trying to get apartment showing gigs?
No.
Okay. I was just curious.
No, I mean, in order to do that, like, cause most places, like, I need to be a real estate agent to do that, and I'm not.
I thought that was the entire reason you became a home inspector, right? You want to be a real estate. Sorry. Remember that was what everybody would ask. They're like, "Oh, are you becoming a realtor?"
There's
You're like,
one
"No,
person.
no." It was everybody. It was
It
every
was
single
one
person. It was
person.
every human being alive. It was like, "Oh, you're becoming a realtor." You're like, "No, I'm becoming a home inspector." Um, but no, I think this will be good. So, so you're gonna. Did you built the website? I remember you showed me some of it.
Yeah, it's all ready, I just have to pay again, but I don't wanna do that until I have E&O insurance, and then
Sure,
also I wanna contact a different, um, radon company to see if they'll work with me,
sure.
um, or either that or contact the other radon company and say, "Hey, I know it's been 6 months, but are you still okay with this deal that we had?"
Just blame it
Um
on Putin. It works.
Did you know? Yeah, like, I was gonna get to it, but then there was a war. I know I know it's not in the same country, but, like, um, yeah. So I gotta do those 2 things, and then I'm basically ready to go after those 2 things happen.
Good.
Um,
Excuse
I
me.
I'm waiting for my business cards to come, and as soon as they come, I could start going to some open houses and just throwing them around.
Like Gambit from X-Men?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, he was the one who, if he touched things, they became explosives. So the things
No.
he used for his superpower were playing cards because he could throw them all over.
Oh, okay.
And he was Cajun, at least in the cartoon, he was Cajun. I actually just got a box of business cards in the mail today.
Really?
I buy so many business cards. I'm gonna show it
Hmm.
to you, but you gotta be patient. But I buy a lot of business cards because I have a lot of little things to promote that are not physical, don't exist physically.
Mhm.
Like, I have and I sell physical media on my web store. So I like to have little handouts. Like I have a weekly spooky business card.
That's nice.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
I like how it has all the like Apple Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, all at the bottom. I think that's a nice little
Yeah.
card.
Mhm.
Um and then I have I have like one for the Babysitter Massacre books. I'd have to dig to find it because I'm almost out of those. But that I need to do a new one because it only has 3 and now there's 4.
Mhm.
So, but the newest one I'm very excited about is the Watch Boggy
Oh,
Creek the series on Tubi card,
cool.
which I think turned out real nice.
Yeah, mine isn't that nice.
I could have designed your card.
No, it just, like just says, like, "Hey, this is home inspection.
I'm
Here's
so
my
sorry.
number." Yeah. I'm I'm sorry I left this card here.
Please recycle.
Yeah.
Is this the other one? Hold on. Oh, yeah, this was the most recent one I had before that one was the popcorn fodder on Tubi card. Sorry, there we go.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice too.
Yeah, and so I'll keep like 3 of each of these in my wallet, maybe
Mhm.
just 1 of each depending. So I can show I can like hand them to somebody if I know I run into somebody I know and they'd be like, "What are you up to?" And I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I go on Tubi." And then whenever you order a DVD or Blu-ray from henflix.com, I stuff all of that stuff into the package. That way you can kind of get an idea of what's out there to watch for free.
Mhm.
Um, oh, and then because for Patreon, I forgot that I could just follow myself with the mic.
Oh,
Then for Patreon, I have like a big handout.
yay. I like that one too.
You know, the secret is postcards cost like 47 cents or something, and you have to buy like 500. These are just 4x6 photo prints, and they cost
Okay.
like 11 cents or 9
Mhm.
cents. And you can
Yeah.
get like 5 if you want. And you can get them if you're in a hurry, you can get them at like a drugstore
Mhm.
printed.
Yeah.
So, oh, real quick, Mad Metal Man sent us a little note, said driving but listening. Well, thank you, Mad Metal Man. We're
Yeah,
always happy to
thanks.
have you here with us. Hope things are going very well for you. Um, Paul Lee, who is one of the self-employed mafia, um, I told my old boss I don't have to be here anymore. Then they found out I was the only guy that knew how to run 3 machines. So uh, MI had them over a barrel. So I think it's so I had them over a
Yeah, I
barrel.
think it's yeah.
Quote unquote worked there till they closed the doors, read my comics, finished about a book a night, or watched movies on my phone. Now 100% my own boss. I do what I want when I want. LOL. Isn't that the best? And the best part about being self-employed is you'll be like, I do what I want when I want, which is what I say all the time. And it's like, except right now I have to sit down and do taxes. Or like, except right now I have to do paperwork. I'm
No,
in the
that's
middle.
what you want to
I'm
do.
yeah, it's totally. If
Yeah.
only people knew how sexy making movies for a living is. I have a pile of paperwork to manage, organize, and sign. You all just wish you were me right now. I'll tell you what. Okay, so last week I was filming something. It's still a secret for right now. If you want to know
Mhm.
what it is, you need to be a member of the Patreon because that's where I tell secrets before they're supposed to be public. But it's I was shooting something for a project. And literally I was working with Rachel on it, and literally we were about to say action on the first scene of the first day, and my phone rings, and it was about my taxes. It was like we need the details of this thing for your taxes, and I was like, okay. So I like gave the details. They're like, okay, now what are you going to pay the fees with? And I was like, and I like pulled my wallet out, and I literally standing in the middle of the woods. We were about to roll camera, and now I'm reading out of my Discover card to pay my taxes. Uh,
That's how they get you.
So luckily they didn't have like a very Indian accent. Yes, you need to pay our taxes. David Denoyer just commented and said, "But first, let me pay my taxes." LOL. Yeah, but it was so funny because I remember I turned to Rachel. I said, "This is what people don't get about my life. This is the part of my life I can't stand because this is like the exact example of what happens. It's like, wow, it's so cool you make movies for a living. I'm like, I know, and then it's like, and oh, hold on, got to pay my taxes right now. Gotta love it, boy howdy. So, Michelle, do you want me to make you cry like I did last week? Should I
No, it's
just
okay.
do that?
No,
I
it's
can do that
okay.
if you need me to.
No, no, it's okay. I don't really wanna cry anymore.
Okay, if you insist.
Mm.
Um, David Denoyer said, Diet Coke don't buy itself. That's true. That's what I say to myself every morning when I wake up and it's time to hustle. Paul Lee said, I guess I don't get to do 100% what I want when I want, but I do interviews for my podcast. Times get crazy when people live outside EST. I'm actually doing a podcast tonight with a gentleman in Japan. But
That's
luckily,
so many hours from now.
luckily he's willing to do it based on my time zone. So we're doing it at 7:30
Oh,
my time.
did you
I don't
know that right now in Japan it's 4:25 in the morning?
I did. 'Cause because, I'm pretty sure every time I've done his podcast, he's always been in Japan. So every time I've done his podcast, it's always been, like, first thing in the morning,
Mhm.
which is super weird. Um, but, there was something I was gonna say. Oh, but I was gonna say, Paul Lee, I think you could agree with me on this. My standpoint isn't that I literally get to do whatever I want when I want, but that, like a solid 80% of my job is pretty cool. And the number's never even been over 20% when I've worked for anybody. You know what I mean? Like I've never been over 20% happy at any job except my own business. So, but anyway, Michelle, okay, so let me get ready to make you cry.
No, it's okay, I'm
Michelle,
fine. I'm fine.
Michelle,
No.
Michelle. No, no, I'm not going to try to make you cry. But no, please just know, I support you and so does everybody who listens to the show. There may not be many of them, but they're sweethearts, every last one of them. So, and can you inspect homes in Ohio legally, or is that a no?
I mean, not now, not unless I have a license in Ohio, I can't. What's the reciprocity like? It was they it's I definitely ca since I'm licensed in New Jersey, it's really easy for me to get a license in Ohio, I think, but I don't live near Ohio.
Yes, you do. You're literally bordering Ohio.
My state is.
I know I'm the worst. Uh, you can currently conduct home inspections without a license in Ohio. However, you will need to have a home inspector license by July 1st, 2021 to conduct home inspections in Ohio. Oh, that confused me.
It's
Thanks,
old.
Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Google. That didn't confuse me at all. All right, well, you get if you I'll pay you to inspect my house. How much does a home inspection cost?
Uh, I don't know, it depends on the size of your house. How big is your house?
It's like 1,080 square feet, somewhere in
Like
that neighborhood.
like $400 or something?
Uh, how about 380?
How about how about I do it for $5 because that's how much it cost me to make the report.
I mean, I do appreciate a friend offering to do work at cost. I appreciate that. But all right, well, I think we should get out of here. I think we both got plenty of things to do. I think we both got plenty of things we need to go worry about.
Okay,
I feel like that's important, an important part of our day.
okay.
What, you're not going to go worry when we get off the show?
No, I am.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I want to make sure you're feeling okay. I'd be checking your forehead if you were making sure you didn't have a fever. So, but I'm proud of you, Michelle.
Thanks.
I am.
I know. Thanks.
You're so sad about it. Paulie said, "Have a good day, you all." You too,
You
Paulie.
too.
So, Michelle, you take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Same Stone Cold time, same Stone Cold channel. Oh, Michelle, I'm sorry. You have final.
No! I don't I don't have anything to say. I'm just here. There's a person walking outside. I wonder who they are. I don't know. I I don't know. But thank you, John. I appreciate it. Come back. Don't leave me
Ah,
here.
this is like one of the, you remember those old educational films where it'd be like, "What would life be like without zinc or without springs?" It's like, "Come back, springs." That's what that was. That was your moment where you're like, "No, I need Henrik. I forgot." All right, bye, everybody.